I have a little bit of pride in saying, and our finance minister is here, so I am going to say it. I think our economy has been much better managed than most Western countries. If you'll notice, we have been mostly unaffected by this previous recession, which has been one of the worst in global history. Bangladesh has averaged, and that is an average, 4.5% growth for over the past decade, a little over a decade. And that is an average. That is not the minimum. So it has gone well above that in the past decade. And throughout the recession, we grew at 4.5%, when most global economies, even some of our neighbors such as Pakistan, were experiencing negative growth. And just to give you one example, our largest export item, which are garments, that is what we're known for, in the worst of the recession in 2009, our garments export grew by 14%. A little over 14%, in fact, the number's around 14.3%. The government of Bangladesh actually has a budget surplus, once again, thanks to our finance minister here. Foreign aid makes up only 2% of our GDP. Bangladesh is not dependent on foreign aid to manage its budget. The only purpose that foreign aid goes towards is to build large-scale infrastructure projects which we cannot otherwise finance. These include bridges, power plants, billion-dollar projects, which the government simply cannot afford. And Bangladesh is one of the few countries in the world that has never defaulted on its foreign obligations. We have always paid our loans in full on time. Always. Now, Bangladesh IT is something most people have not heard of. The present government has created a digital Bangladesh initiative. This was one of our visions. I was involved in creating it. It has been a dream of mine. I believe that the success that India enjoys, the name recognition that India has built in the IT field, translates very easily to Bangladesh. And I will tell you why in a minute. The government has undertaken, as part of Digital Bangladesh, many initiatives which I refer to as our e-governance initiatives, which are essentially e-governance projects. Basically, the goal is that all government citizen services will eventually be computerized, digitized, online, quickly accessible. That is just the future, that is the trend, that is inevitable, but we have a big push for that. What is surprising is that most of these projects that are on the way, many have been finished, many are in the process. The vast majority are being undertaken by local IT companies in Bangladesh. They are not being undertaken by large Western names or foreign names that you hear, not even the Tata Global Services or Wipro. These are mostly Bangladeshi companies, such as Doha Tech here, who are developing these projects simply because they have a cost advantage that no one else can match, but the quality is comparable to any other company. The software, at the end of the day, the systems, if you look at it, and I am an IT engineer by background, I've been in the industry for 10 years. At the end of the day, what is a government's IT system? It's built to government specifications. It is servers, input-output devices, processes, programs. At the end of the day, whether company X or company Y builds an ID card or a machine-readable passport or a land records database, it all looks the same. The question is the quality of the product, and the quality of the work of Bangladeshi IT companies that we're discovering are second to none. So, frankly, the foreign companies, even Indian companies, aren't being able to compete in Bangladesh. Now, there are already foreign companies, and even US-based companies who are already outsourcing to Bangladesh. On a small scale, they're trying it out as a destination to see how it works, to expand. Dell being one of the most prominent. I believe they have some sort of a graphics design center there. Others, such as Samsung, who have big operations, R&D operations in India, are actually now talking to the government about relocating because they are unhappy with, first of all, the costs, the hurdles they're facing in India, and the regulatory regime. So they are actively looking to relocate from India to Bangladesh. In terms of our locally available IT resources, Bangladesh Bangladeshi universities graduate approximately 7,000 computer science graduates every year. This number is expected to grow with this initiative. Many more specialized IT training centers are being opened. Many of the private universities are adding to their computer science and IT curriculum. So within the next few years, we expect this number to keep growing. English is widely spoken. It is taught at all school levels, reading, writing. Bangladesh currently has approximately a 60% literacy rate, but that is growing very, very fast. In fact, the previous term of our President Awami League government, the literacy rate was increased from about 40-some% to 60% in 5 years. And we expect to duplicate that growth again this year. The only primary reason it's fallen back is because the population has grown. The subsequent governments did not keep up with the programs. One big advantage, again, and I keep comparing to India as that is sort of the world's benchmark for outsourcing. Whenever you think of IT outsourcing, you think of India. The social business culture is identical to India. So whatever advantage you have, whatever comfort level you have working with Indian companies, it translates directly into Bangladesh. Communications network. In terms of telephone communications, voice communications, Bangladesh is second to none. Bangladesh last year led the world in mobile growth rate. I don't know if that number is still true, but we're one of the top. It's the fastest penetration rates, fastest growth rates. In terms of infrastructure, you all hear about, and I'm sure you hear about the energy crisis of Bangladesh, severe shortages. What most people don't know is that, once again, our present government, the Bangladesh Awami League Party, we were in government from 96 to 2001. At the end of 2001, Bangladesh did not have a shortage of energy. And that's nationwide. That's not localized. That's not the cities. That is nationwide. Bangladesh had a surplus of electricity production. Right now, we have embarked on a program again. And of course, the subsequent government did not follow up, did not continue the development and investment in the infrastructure, and so we fell behind as demand kept growing, not because supply decreased. So now, within this past year, our present government has awarded contracts worth about 2,500 megawatts of electricity. The present estimated shortfall is about 4,000 or 5,000 megawatts, but it's growing by about 1,000 megawatts a year. The target is, the plan right now is to award another 2,500 megawatts within the next 6 months or so. And the target is, by 2013, there will not be a shortage of electricity in Bangladesh. And we are pretty much on target. We should meet that goal as these contracts that we have awarded and have in the pipeline to award come online. Recently as well, in the past year, our telecommunications regime has been liberalized. Now, I told you about the mobile telecommunications network. Once again, our present Awami League government, in our previous term, liberalized the mobile networks. Prior to our term, there was only one network. It was a monopoly, very limited coverage, high prices. We awarded multiple licenses, and right now, today, Bangladesh is one of the few countries that enjoys 98% mobile coverage. That is land coverage, that's not just population. So pretty much anywhere other than the remote hill tracts of Chittagong, you go in Bangladesh, you can pick up a cell phone and make a phone call in the remotest village. Market penetration is about 47%. Market saturation is estimated to be about 80%, and we have one of the fastest mobile growth rates. So the expectation is within the next 6 to 10 years, our mobile market is going to be saturated. In terms of other telecommunications infrastructure, backbones, data networks. The present laws, the law was adopted by Parliament, I believe, in April of this year, and the licensing guidelines are being finalized as we speak, and new licenses will start being issued from the end of this year. Basically, it is being the rest of the networks are being liberalized the same way the mobile networks work. They're going to be open for foreign investment. You can come in, get whatever license you want, build